Let's talk about, to me, one of the most fascinating things about producing Empire Strikes Back, and that's working with a 4-foot-tall Muppet.
Yeah, Yoda. Sleepless nights for me, not Yoda. It was, at first we thought Yoda should be 9 foot tall with a big beard and look like Moses. After all, he's a Jedi Knight. He's 800 or 900 years old. I mean, he's got to look it. And it didn't seem to work. Even thought about using a monkey and doing part animation. That didn't work. It was very hard to get the face of Yoda. But I figured, you know, he lives on a planet that's wet. It's like a marsh. It's always raining. It's always damp. His feet are in water outside. What would his skin be like? Would it be like your skin or my skin? No. It would have to be a little bit reptilian so that the water doesn't affect it. So gradually, he became Yoda. Now, I had never seen a puppet that was supposed to be a living thing on film. I've seen puppets that look like puppets, were supposed to be puppets, but I'd never seen one that was a living thing. And this was the difficulty of taking something that was rubber, plastic, a little electronics in it, not much, a lot of wires coming out, that you pulled one wire and the ears went down, you pulled another one and the eyes went together or went apart, or he blinked, or the mouth could open and close. The actual expression of Yoda never changed. He wrinkled his brow a little bit, but that's about it. The rest of it was body language and voice. And that's what made Yoda. So, began to shoot Yoda, and I just, it didn't look like it was alive. So I told him I wanted Yoda to be able to eat. So we made a few little changes so that he actually popped something in his mouth and it looked like he was chewing. It was just going down a big hole, you know. And did little things with the body language to make him sort of come alive. And it was shot in a very difficult way. The set was built about 5.5 feet above the floor of the stage. The trees and rocks were all on top. Underneath was a circle of television sets and puppeteers. And Frank Oz had his hand up into Yoda so he could make the head work. And the puppeteers were watching. He was watching television, and the puppeteers were watching television, and they were pulling the ears, the eyes moving, the blinking. All that stuff was going on, and all they could see was television sets. The camera had a split thing in it so that what was being photographed was also going to the TV sets below. So they could see everything instantaneously. Poor Mark couldn't hear Yoda because they're below the floorboards. So he would say something, I'm looking for a Jedi Knight. And he'd listen, nothing would come out. But in the rehearsals, we gave him an earpiece. And Yoda would say, looking for a Jedi Knight, are you? Or whatever the hell he says. And now Mark has to answer, what am I talking to you for? Oh, talking to me for, you know. And you had the back and forth conversation rehearsed many times, and then you took out the earplug, and Mark had to do it with this puppet that was talking, but nothing was coming out. I thought that Mark did a fabulous job, and you'll see for yourself. As we continued to work with Yoda, we had to cut holes in the floor so that he could move. Or if we wanted to move this way, we had to saw out a hole so that an arm could come up and move, you know? Now, when Yoda walks away in the distance, it's a midget on his knees. When he's close, it's the puppet. So we gradually put it together and hoped it would work, that you'd believe it. Now, by making him the character I gave him, he's kind of childish in many ways. Brilliant, powerful, but childish. Why? Because he's old enough now to be able to understand things and to know that if you don't laugh at yourself, that nothing's going to work anyway. And he has a childish nature, so that when he goes exploring the stuff that Luke brought down from the ship, he finds the flashlight, he wants it. R2-D2 doesn't want him to have it. They have a tussle. He hits the can with his cane. All of that humanizes Yoda more than anything you can do. It's these little touches all through the film that makes him not human, but Yoda. I don't know, Yoda's something else. I don't know what he is. He's something from a dream. So that was the big job, Yoda.
With the new films using a totally CGI Yoda, if you had a choice and we're making them now, would you prefer a puppet or a CGI Yoda?
Well, with the CGI Yoda, as they now are using him, he can do anything. And because he can do anything, there's no limit. And I think all art has to have limitations. And you have to work within the discipline of the resistance of that limitation. And by using something that was that difficult to manipulate, to work, we had to think very carefully and create carefully, and there was time and necessity to create the character and the humor. With CGI, what you do is you have Mark talking, and then they put in the figure. They put it in. He doesn't even see it. This way, the actor can play with this little figure. And to me, Yoda is just as important as Luke talking to him. Luke creates the reality of Yoda. He accepts Yoda as a real, living thing. Therefore, we tend to accept it as a living thing. At least this is what I was thinking. With CGI, you don't have that. The little creature is put in afterwards. There's a blank part on the screen, and Mark will be talking to a blank part, and then later, months later, a little Yoda is put in. I prefer it my way.